Well, they did it again. The West Virginia Mountaineers and Governor Morrisey have teamed up to bust that NCAA ass.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host, and this is Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking about the West Virginia Mountaineers again today on the basketball side of things for just a moment and a little kiss. Junior. So here's the thing. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the Dellinger thing that came out earlier today where the NCAA in West Virginia at odds again. What happened? What's it mean? Why did it happen? We'll go there. Obviously, we're gonna talk with Jackson about the backyard brawl. And last but not least, we're obviously going to talk about the landscape, the entirety of the Big 12, and some college football games that you would want to know about, and maybe which way to lean on some of those. So other than that, guys, thank you for being here, and let's get rolling. Obviously not doing this alone, and I brought a buddy on, a guy that enjoys the occasional chicken nugget, Jackson Johnson.
What is up, Mountaineer Paul? How you doing tonight, good buddy?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, just staying busy, just getting ready to rock and roll on a Friday night.
Better than some, worse than others.
Yep, better than some, worse than others.
That's right. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Brought to you by our friends over at Mazda. Mazda. Listen, we sweat every detail. We really do, because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. So stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward by Mazda. Move and be moved. All right, guys. So Governor Morrisey and company posted something kind of interesting today regarding something that happened, it seems like many moons ago now, considering that our basketball coach then isn't our basketball coach now, but justice still needed to be done. And done it was. Ross Dellinger reporting this. So this change comes after the committee selected UNC. So basically there was a change, a notable change to the NCAA men's basketball committee selection process. The chair must be recused if their school is under review for final at-large selections. If their school is among the last 4 at-large teams, the chair cannot publicly comment on its inclusion. So this change comes after the committee selected UNC as one of its last at-large teams last year. UNC AD Bubba Cunningham was the chair of the committee. West Virginia's governor called on the NCAA to examine its policy as West Virginia was left out of the field. You know, here's the thing about this, guys. And we'll look at it here. This is new rules for the 2026 championship require the selection committee chair to recuse themselves during final at-large team selections if their institution is under review. And additionally, if their institution is among the last 4 at-large teams, their chair cannot publicly comment on its inclusion. I feel like this still does nothing. I don't know. Leaving West Virginia out of the NCAA men's basketball tournament was unjustified, and the selection process left fans and supporters in the dark, said Governor Morrisey. I'm proud to announce that our call to action has been produced. Real results to eliminate potential bias and bring home transparency going forward. Okay, so I'm going to try to find something because, boy, was I hot when this happened. And I debated somebody about this. And I should have already had this ready. I wish I would have thought of it sooner. I'm sorry that I didn't. But, you know, it goes back a couple months, obviously. And it was, you know, West Virginia was left out of the NCAA tournament. And it was bad. It was really bad. We were absolutely screwed for sure. Jackson, I know you don't follow college basketball, but how would you feel about if Alabama were head to head for somebody to get into the Final Four in football, and let's say you went up against West Virginia, and Wren Baker was the decision maker, our athletic director? Would you feel really good about Alabama's chances of getting in?
I'd feel pretty weird about it, honestly, but it's just like you don't want your team's athletic director making that final decision in general, like, because it just kind of feels like there's too many fingers in the cookie jar, like where it's just it feels a little weird, like especially when you had like Bubba Cunningham deciding who he's going to pick between North Carolina and West Virginia. You really think he wasn't going to pick his own team? Of course he was. He's going to pick his own team. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
He got left out. Like, oh my God. But the thing is, if North Carolina wasn't a blue blood in college basketball, they wouldn't have gotten in my opinion.
Right. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So let's see. I debated JT Wistersill from Locked On Utah when this happened on our show, and let's just say I got pretty hot about it at the time. I was pretty dang upset about West Virginia being left out of this. So I'm going to do my best I've got the video. I'm going to do my best to find exactly where we were talking. Yeah, I mean, all the points that you can make for West Virginia were, I made in this video, and I was pretty proud of how I represented it. I obviously studied
at the end of the year. North Carolina helped themselves get in. If West Virginia wins that game,
listen to this a little bit, and you'll see why we West Virginians were so mad.
Okay.
AT does a good job here, but listen to me afterwards.
To the West Virginia resume.
Okay,
so it's the same when you go just the ones. That doesn't
if
make
you guys
any.
look at net, hey, the Tar Heels net was 36 versus West Virginia was
because they destroyed bad
that's non-conference schedule. That's non-conference schedule. So non-conference schedule strength of it 36 for the Tar Heels, 61 for West Virginia. They were much higher in the net too. There's several other of these advanced metrics that favor them. How about away and neutral record, which they do factor into this? Tar Heels 10-10 versus West Virginia was below 500 in away and neutral sites as well too. North Carolina obviously also look, and the committee, I'll say this, they evaluate all games on an equal scale, but that's a bad loss for Colorado at the end of the year. That's a bad loss for to Colorado at the end of the year. North Carolina helped themselves get in. If West Virginia wins that game, they're probably in this field too. So there was
no,
more
we're not.
things they could have done.
They made their decision Friday night. They said it. They said they made it Friday night. Memphis won, Carolina was in, right? So they made the decision Friday night. Colorado didn't matter. We was still
had a 2-hour. I've been told they had a 2-hour conversation about this. They were ongoing discussions.
I'm not going to call your dad a liar, but what they come out and said after the fact is that if Memphis won the game, Carolina was in, right? So that means Colorado didn't factor in there. So listen, Carolina beat 0 ACC tourney teams. West Virginia beat 6 Big 12 tourney teams. UNC was 27 brackets they had in bracket matrix, 27 of the 111, right? West Virginia was 111 out of the 111. If you were going to bet on this, North Carolina was a plus 450 dog to get into the tournament on that day. 0 top 25 wins in KenPom. Louisville got a number 8 seed. So you're telling me your second best team is an 8 seed? Get out of here. Like, there are so many things that I got a ton more here. Like,
your poll.
It's a very thin margin. Like, we're talking about.
So to say that it was egregious that West Virginia left out of the field is an understatement. And I was pretty pissed at the time. And JT's a good buddy. I'm definitely wasn't mad at him. It was coming out towards him, right? Yeah. And so, it's one of those things where this was an egregious thing. I think people will forget now because it's been so long ago, but Bubba Cunningham, and you heard everything I said there. Bracket matrix is basically a thing where the NCAA, not the NCAA, it's in its own website, right? And they kind of just try to predict, kind of like Joe Lunardi style, who's going to be in the tournament. and you can kind of rely on it, over the past few years. Like a bracket matrix, if you've got 80% of the brackets that have you in the field, then you got a pretty good chance of getting in. Or if you've only got a couple, you're probably not, right?
Oh.
West Virginia had 111 of the 111 models. They were in, right? On 111 out of 111. How did West Virginia get left out? And obviously this is a non-starter now. It's way past this. We don't even have the same coach anymore. But it's the only reason is the head of the chairperson was Bubba Cunningham, right? The AD at North Carolina. And even if they're going to have to recuse themselves, I still don't know without more details how this is going to help, because their influence is still felt, you would think, wouldn't you, Jackson?
Oh yeah.
Just because they're not in the room doesn't mean that people don't know he's on the. Like, what about when he comes back in the room and you got to be like, oh, Bubba, we didn't pick your team, Like, does this really help anything?
It helps some, but not a whole lot. It doesn't help everything, because it's like, what about the other teams? What about the other 67 spots? What about these last 4 spots, the last 16 spots? What does that mean for everybody in the world of college basketball? That's what I'm thinking about. It's like, oh, well, we're gonna make sure there's no more problems with this last spot here. It's like, no, we want more answers.
Right. Well, it doesn't matter which committee chair. It's any committee chair. If their team is one of the is in the running for one of the last 4 spots. But I see what you're talking about. You're saying that it could put too much emphasis on the final 4 spots and not enough on the other spots.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Obviously it does take some of the bias out of it, because they'll have to step out of the room once the committee has selected all but the final 4 at-large teams. So basically what it is, we will pick everything up into the final 4 squads, which makes sense. That way you get it out of the way first. That way they can't be biased towards you, right? But it's not like some backroom deal making still can't happen. It's like, hey, look, I'm going to be out of the room and you guys pick North Carolina later, or we heard North Carolina later. But, like, I've got you today when we talk about Memphis, like I've got your back on Memphis when we, we'll team up on Memphis. Hey, you put North Carolina in, I'll team up on Baylor with you.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it's like, I know I see this as they're trying. I feel like maybe you should just be left out altogether if you're unlucky enough. What are the odds that it's going to happen again? They're very low odds of this happening. You could be on the committee, but you maybe can't be the chair. I don't know. I don't know if there's a great solution. Let me know in the comments, guys, how you feel about this. Obviously this is something that, it's nice for West Virginia. I think it's revenge, it's in a way kind of for us. We kind of won here, if you will, but obviously we didn't get our team in, and we'll never know how that team would have done in the tournament. And that's something I'll never, Javon Small deserved to go in. He had an All-American caliber
There's probably
season.
another reality in another dimension where West Virginia is in the NCAA tournament.
And they won the national championship.
It could happen.
Saying they won the national championship.
Well, anything can happen in the world of dimensions,
Well, go find me Rick and Morty so they can take me to that dimension then, because I want to.
There we go.
Now. Let's go to break. On the other side of the break, we'll give Jackson the chance to talk about something a little more interesting. The Backyard Brawl.
Let's go.
And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends over at, well, you already know, we're talking about our friends over at Mazda. We love talking about Mazda for different reasons, but this time we're going to talk about DoorDash, actually. My fault. I've got them all mixed up here. Guys, right now when it comes to DoorDash, it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Obviously, for West Virginia, I'm going to give it to Wren Baker. He delivered in a big way today by helping get this chair seat changed out or what have you, as far as whenever there's the Final Four in the room. Recusal is the answer. Wren Baker has absolutely put it on the line for us yet again. He continues to deliver actually in the AD chair in all seriousness. When the pressure was on, he came through, no hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance wasn't a fluke. Wren Baker is on a streak. He's got the glossy helmets back for us. He got this done today along with Governor Morrisey. We've been, multiple other things. Wren Baker keeps on killing it. And just like Wren Baker delivered for West Virginia, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash streaks, where you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all off season or during the season, apologies, and you can save up to $250, including 100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash where terms apply. The promo code through 11/18. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys for being back here with us here on Locked On West Virginia. Guess what? It's Backyard Brawl week. Friday, actually. This time tomorrow, we will know the results of that football game as West Virginia hosting the Pitt Panthers in town. Eli Holstein leads the ACC in passing yards. He's had 4 touchdowns in each of his first 2 games. Against cream puff competition, no doubt, Duquesne and Central Michigan.
Good Lord.
But, this rivalry is an intense rivalry. And I'm just curious what, when you look at this thing, Jackson, what is Pitt walking into this weekend?
They're walking into a scary environment in Morgantown, West Virginia. But luckily, they're not going to be having to work for their sake. They're not having to worry about West Virginia for the next 3 years until 2029. So,
yeah, unfortunately, I would love to play them every year, but it is what it is. It goes away for a couple years.
We're cueing the Peanuts music as we're back to having it in 2029, and it's going to be 2029 through 2036, especially in the earlier episode of Locked On West Virginia, of course.
Are you talking about the Peanuts music like?
Yep. That was one of the first things I did when I heard the news.
Oh, God, get that thing out of my head. Oh, God.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this game, man, just as far as on the field? Like, obviously, Pitt comes in on paper as the better team. The spread's up where, depending on where you look, it's anywhere from 6.5 to 7.5. It seems like Vegas is favoring the Panthers quite strongly on the road here.
I mean, if it was at Pitt, I would reluctantly go with Pitt on this one. But because it's at West Virginia and Morgantown, it's a toss-up. It was why I went with West Virginia on Wednesday's episode of Locked On West Virginia. I was like, you know what? I'm going with the Mountaineers 24-21 over Pitt. One of the keys to victory for the Mountaineers is put enough pressure on Eli Holstein. You do that, you're going to be good to go.
I think so. Obviously, we've heard that Jamori Robinson will be back for this game. And I'm going to be very excited to see what that looks like, because obviously they don't just grow on trees. Jamori Robinson would have went to Alabama if he would have been available. We were lucky enough that we stuck it out with him throughout this process of him becoming eligible and everything. If it was a situation where he was just transferring in the portal from UTSA and had no strings attached, you're talking about a guy that would have been one of the first players picked in the transfer portal. He's that good. 90 quarterback pressures last year, 10.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, and the American Defensive Player of the Year. You get him back just in time for Pitt. We at least that's what we're hearing. Now, it's not 100% guaranteed. That's unfortunate. I wish we knew, but the good thing about that is Pitt doesn't know, so they're having to prepare a plan for if he's on the field or if he's not, unless they think they're going to line up against him one-on-one and block him. Maybe they feel like they got a guy that can. Ooh. Like West Virginia had Wyatt Milam, obviously. They've had guys they felt like he could block one-on-one. but Jamari Robinson can be a game wrecker, a game crusher, a game taker over. He's a guy that you can't block one-on-one, in my opinion, unless he's just not in great shape. What could the addition of a player like Jamari Robinson do for the Mountaineers? To your point, to your key.
Oh, I think he'll be tremendous for the Mountaineers. He's going to be astonishing for them. Like you get a guy like that back, you're good to go for Pitt this Saturday.
I think so. I think he can make an impact on this game for sure. Because even if he's just brought in on NASCAR packages where, it's second and third and long, hopefully he can keep behind schedule, or even second and third and medium where they might pass because they're more of a passing team anyways. This is a situation I think where Jamari is going to be a big key to this game. Obviously, I've thought a lot about the keys to this game this week, and I have quite a few, but I think I can narrow it down to obviously West Virginia needs to control the line of scrimmage in the game. We've talked about that on multiple different occasions, especially on offense. I still have the text message right here from an offensive lineman from West Virginia. I got this yesterday as we talked about it. He said, "Hey, bro, we had the best week of practice. Coach Bicknell is a monster at this. He'll have us ready. We have to tune the whole fan base out this week because the outside noise has been so bad. Pitt has a good D-line, but I guarantee you this, we're going to dominate them dudes Saturday. I ain't say shit about Ohio, but we figured out some shit as this week goes, some shit out this week. And you can tell your fan base that I don't care. Come holler at me after Saturday. Eat shit, Pitt. O-line is back." So, that gave me some confidence, right? Because we got this graphic too here. Obviously last year at Jacksonville State, they started out 0-3, only averaging 25 points a game and 120 rushing yards a game. And then Rich Rod figured it out. They went 8-1 down the last nine games, won the conference. More than doubled their rushing attack. What does this right here say about Rich Rodriguez's ability to take a team? Because Jacksonville State had 60 new players last year. West Virginia has 81. 60 is still it's close to that. So does that give you any confidence that Rich Rod, that this version of West Virginia that played at Ohio last week might not be the final version?
Oh, yeah. Like, extremely confident. Like, if I'm like, West Virginia fans should definitely feel really confident with Rich Rod. Like, thank your lucky stars Neil Brown is not there anymore. Ohio is not the final version. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I always say.
Oh God, what a crazy little saying that is. I wonder who came up with that.
I heard it from Mama like 3 years ago in September 2022.
From who?
I heard it from my mom 3 years ago, but I don't know who originated that saying.
Well, we're not going to go into what it is, but I'll explain it to you off camera what it's actually about.
But I know like Ohio beat Iowa State in 2023 in week 3. That was not the final version of Iowa State that year. Like,
correct.
They had a good ending that year. And then we saw 2024, they get to the Big 12 title and they lose to Arizona State. But then 2025, they're having a pretty good start so far.
Yeah, Arizona. Yeah, absolutely. I think they look like one of the better teams in the conference right now. Okay, so you obviously picked Pitt in this game, or West Virginia in this game. Obviously, I picked them as well, even though, I keep going back and forth on the score. I think if the offensive line can do what he said they're going to do this week, West Virginia can hang in this game. I trust our defense to get stops at times. I think we'll get a turnover here somewhere. As long as they don't ball control us to death, we'll be fine in this game. I think we have explosive playmakers on the outside in Cam Vaughn, and I think we'll have somebody else step up. And I like West Virginia to win tomorrow. I really do. I had no confidence going into Ohio, and probably a lot of people are asking, how can you have any confidence after Ohio? It's just my gut. I don't know how else to say it. I feel like it's 18 years in the making. Fate is ordained that we do this. Fate. has ordained that Rich Rodriguez win this football game. Fate has brought it back to play on 9/13, the 13-9 rematch.
He's been waiting 18 years for this.
He's been waiting 18 years for this. He put every ounce of his soul and energy into this team this week. If they don't play, I guarantee if they don't play well, it's not because Rich Rodriguez didn't kill himself to make it happen. I guarantee it. He's probably watching tape right now. He's probably doing something productive about it right now.
Oh, yeah. He was nice today, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go Mountaineers. What'd you say? He was what?
I said he was nice today.
Oh, yeah. Do you love the Mountaineers? Do you have love for the Mountaineers? Will Rich Rod change QBs is a question that we'll answer after the break, Leo. It's a good question. We'll talk about it next here on Locked On West Virginia with Jackson Johnson from the voice of college football, Alabama, and the Jacksonian. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends, as always, over at Mazda. Listen, we're talking about Mazda for multiple reasons, but we can't forget why, and that is because they love to move forward, and they love to move the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining the game. Of course, there are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and they keep moving the game forward, right? So I think at the end of the day, the moment that moved the game forward for me is West Virginia rescheduling Pitt for 4 more years. I think that helped out a lot in the series. They were calling us scared. They were saying we didn't want to play them anymore. And Wren Baker and company got this thing done. That was the other thing I was going to say he got done earlier. Getting this thing scheduled out 4 more years, getting the NCAA to admit they were wrong. All these things matter. And so, you know, just like Wren Baker did, I mean, so is Mazda. I mean, at the end of the day, so when you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like that, there's more to every highlight. There's more to a Mazda vehicle, where you can be a Mazda man, where you can move and be moved. And last but not least, we got our friends over at Drip Drop. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I've got my drip drop. All right. If I can find the little, where did I put it? Oh, man. I must have somehow. Sometimes I accidentally delete these things on here. Anyways, Drip Drop. When it comes to Drip Drop, guys, if you're staying on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, hydration is where it all starts, but not where it all ends. That's where Drip Drop comes in. When I'm on top of my hydration, I notice everything works better. Energy, mood, focus, skin. But getting enough fluids every day isn't always so easy. That's why I've been using and loving Drip Drop. Drip Drop is doctor-developed, scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes at half the sugar of the leading sports drink. I've tried a lot of electrolyte powders, but nothing tastes quite as good or works quite as fast as Drip Drop does. And I think it's because they're on top of the game. I always keep a few fresh packets in my backpack. It saved me more than once from my midday crash. And it's become my go-to, especially during those long summer days. We're in the fall now. And look, I know I'll be sweating it out, right? Right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. So just head over to dripdrop.com and use promo code LockedOnCollege. That's dripdrop.com, code LockedOnCollege for 20% off. And back here with Jackson Johnson. Tell everybody where they can find you really quick.
Well, they can find me at Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube. They can find me on Alabama at the Voice College Football Mondays, Thursdays, and after every Alabama game on the post-game show on Saturdays. And they can check me out on Jackson VOCFB on @/Twitter and on Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543-908.
Yes, sir. Okay, so there's a lot of good games this weekend, Jackson. We're going to rush through some of these. You know, we'll start in the Big 12. I'll try to get as many Big 12 games as I can here. Northwestern State at Cincinnati. Obviously, 2-1-1 teams. I think Cincinnati is obviously going to be much better here. You've got Sean Kinney and Jeff Woody on the call. ESPN 12:30 kick. Brendan Sorsby should have a day here.
He better, or else Satterfield's in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got Cincinnati. You got Cincinnati?
Absolutely, I do.
A sneakier game, Samford at Baylor. Obviously, Baylor's 1-1, Samford 2-0. Obviously, Baylor is probably one of the most explosive offenses in all college football. Hair away from beating Auburn in week 1. They go into the Lions Den and beat a really good SMU team in week 2. Baylor's -24, and I like the over. Jason Westling and Legger Doozable on ESPN at 9 a.m. Sawyer Robinson, is he one of the most unsung hero quarterbacks in the country?
Absolutely. I want Sawyer Robinson as my QB. I mean, he's one of the main reasons why they have more total yards than Auburn did, even though they lost to Auburn. I want that guy as my QB.
He's a good player. I like Baylor in the game. What about you?
Same. Who doesn't like Baylor against Samford?
Oh, God. Utah versus Wyoming. The number 14 Utes have played.
God, that's a trap game. That is a trap game zone right there.
Right. Obviously Utah is one of the best offensive lines in all college football, and they've got one of the most explosive quarterbacks in all of college football, and Dampier. What say you about this game? You say it's a trap game.
Going to Wyoming is scary, man. Like, ask Texas Tech. They got scared by them 2 years back. I mean, I know they don't have Craig Bowl anymore, but still, though, Wyoming just feels like a trap zone right there. And
it is.
They say in the world
of 7,000 feet elevation as well, which I guess Utah is used to.
Oh, yeah. But, of course, we have a sloppy week in all college football, which means one thing. When there's a sloppy slate, upsets are coming, or near upsets are coming.
Yeah. Rich Waltz and Robert Turbin on the call here on CBS. Obviously, this is going to be an interesting game. I think they consider this a rivalry game, don't they?
Somewhat.
So, it's a border rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
It's a border game. I mean, these two states border each other.
Yeah.
I drove from Utah into Wyoming on my way home from Utah a couple months ago now, I guess. But you know what I didn't know? That I thought, you know what? I'll dodge the elevation in Colorado going through those mountains at 12,000 feet, and I'll just go through Wyoming. And I didn't realize that Wyoming was at 7,000 feet for 4 hours. I was literally dying, dude. I could not breathe there. Couldn't. Like, the air was way too thin. I couldn't imagine playing a college football game there. Obviously, you can adjust, but it's to actually go out and exercise in that weather is wild. It's an advantage. To Utah, though, they live at elevation as well, so it's not going to be as big a deal to them. I still like the Utes in this game.
Oh, I've got the Utes in this one as well. I mean, like, UCLA, nobody's intimidated by UCLA. They have no home field advantage. But Wyoming has a little more home field advantage than UCLA. And they always put a scare into Power 4 opponents. We saw what they did to Texas Tech week 1 of 2023. And even though they don't have Craig Bowl anymore, they can still put a scare into Power 4 teams. But the Utah Utes will win this one.
What about Indiana? Did you like them over Indiana State today?
Oh, Indiana State. Nah, that's a boring game. It's
73-0. Good God, man. The last I looked, just an incredibly lopsided game, man. I mean, that's an insane blowout. I mean, 73. It's hard to get that big of a blowout, no matter what.
Oh man, the Indiana boys are partying tonight over an Indiana State win and how they canceled their home and home with Virginia.
What about Ohio versus Ohio State?
Oh, Ohio State will smack Ohio off the face of the earth on the Peacock app. Like,
I disagree. I don't think so. I think Ohio can hang in this game. Now, I don't think they're going to win, but I do think Ohio can hang around for a couple quarters.
Oh, that's
obviously true. We're not Ohio State. Nowhere near saying that. But but I think Ohio is salty. They're tough, and just don't let them hang around to the fourth quarter. They've got a quarterback that can keep them in that game. I mean, he's athletic enough to run. So I don't think they have enough offensive talent to stay in it. As far as like they got one skill guy. That's it, Hendrickson. And they got a good running back, obviously. But other than that, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did upset West
Bangura.
Virginia, and they gave Rutgers a game. So
they should have beat Rutgers actually.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what about Notre Dame, Texas A&M? This is one of the biggest games of the weekend. Obviously, I mean it just is when you look at it from every possible point of view.
Put
it's
enough
a big
pressure
game.
on Marcel Reed, and you are good to go if you're Notre Dame.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be I think the story that's going to tell the tale in this game is going to be the Aggies defense versus the Notre Dame running game, which is just an elite running game at times. I will absolutely be checking this one out, and it'll be an interesting game to watch.
Oh man, I'll be watching either Florida LSU, Ole Miss, Arkansas on the TV, and I'll be watching Notre Dame, Texas A&M on my laptop on account of having the Peacock app. But with that being said, I'm going Notre Dame in the running game over the Texas A&M Aggies. And Texas A&M can brag all they want about how they had a national title before Bugs Bunny even existed.
You got Oregon State and Texas Tech playing in an interesting game. Some people have a little bit of an eye on this game, saying that Oregon State might be able to upset Texas Tech. I just don't see it.
No.
Oregon State's 2-0, they're 0-2.
Mountaineer Paul, you ever seen Killers of the Flower Moon, where the scene where Robert De Niro spints Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be Texas Tech and Oregon State on Fox.
Oh God.
That's what Texas Tech's going to do to them. They're going to get that paddle on the Beavers.
It's going to stink, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's going to absolutely stink.
Obviously, Oregon State has a good player, Malik Murphy, at quarterback. I don't doubt that at all. But I mean, outside of that, man, I don't know. I honestly, I would have liked to have seen Malik Murphy end up in Morgantown, but that ship sailed, so might as well not even talk about it. Hopefully we get a guy to break out this week. But a couple other games we'll mention. Colorado and Houston is an interesting game that's on right now. What's the score in that game, and what's your thoughts on it so
right
far?
now Houston is winning 16-14, and
so it's basically even.
Oh yeah, so like as of right now, like and this time I've talked with my buddy Austin about this on and off air. With Willie Fritz, you're gonna see things get rolling in Houston. Like you weren't gonna see it in the first year, and I'm not saying you're gonna see Houston make a similar jump to what Arizona State did, where they go from worst to first in the Big 12. But Houston, pretty good candidate to make things happen like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they're making a pretty good case. I mean, they are keeping it close with Colorado, and honestly, I think they can get a pretty good year. Like they can go 8-4.
Who you got in this game?
Going? Oh yeah.
So you like Houston in this game?
Absolutely at home.
Yeah, I like him too to win this one. Okay, so a couple more. I'm really intrigued by South Florida and Miami. I really am. I think that's one of the most intriguing games of the weekend.
Honestly.
Well, they tried to go. Game day tried to go there, but Miami's they had some kind of ordinance block it or something crazy. Like the ESPN put a statement out and everything. Somebody can remember in the chat, but yeah, that's interesting, man. I was like, what the hell happened there? I like South Florida in this game. I think they win outright. I really do. I think South Florida's proven to be a really good football team.
Time they've beaten Miami if that happens.
Alex Galesh will end up somewhere huge. Honestly, he was one of my top 5 picks for West Virginia. Obviously we didn't make it down to him on the list, I don't think. Obviously, I'd rather have Rich Rod still. But I mean, Galesh would have been now that I know South Florida's this good, might have been okay for them to bring all them over here. You know?
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
I'm going Miami on this one reluctantly.
No.
Reluctantly, I go with Miami, but I
Yeah.
will say I'll be pulling for South Florida all the way.
Kansas State versus Arizona. Give me a
Ugh.
winner.
Oh my God, that is a toss-up. You want to talk about a toss-up? That is one
Arizona's
right there.
played well in 2 games. They,
Oh yeah. And with that being said, in the desert, it's always a scary place. I'm going with the Arizona Wildcats in their own backyard in the rare conference, non-conference game. And on the bright side, if K-State loses this one, they can go, well, it doesn't count in our conference standings, so we're good. We're still good. Our season's still alive.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if Kansas State loses this one, they're officially bad this year. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. Part of me wants. I want to trust that they're going to get it fixed in Kansas State, but I don't feel good about picking them because, I mean, Arizona has got playmakers and they've got a quarterback and Noah Fafita that can go.
Oh, they're winning 7-3 as we speak, live on air. At the
moment.
Are
they? Okay.
Well, 5 minutes left in the first quarter on Fox.
Wisconsin versus Alabama.
Oh, Alabama 38-17 on ABC.
I like Alabama as well. Clemson versus Georgia Tech.
I'm going Clemson with a close 3-point win on.
I got Georgia Tech. I like Georgia Tech in this one.
Rambling Rag.
I like Haynes King a lot. So
I would not be surprised. I flipped between that game to tell you the truth because, Georgia Tech, if they upset, you heard it right here on Locked On West Virginia. Mountaineer Paul with the pick for Georgia Tech.
All right. Make sure I got all these. Iowa State, Arkansas State.
Iowa State's going to beat up on Arkansas.
Abilene Christian, TCU.
Oh, TCU's going to win that one. Yeah, Arizona State, Texas State.
Arizona State, Texas State, yep.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a close one, I feel like. Arizona State's going to win this one still.
I like Arizona State as well. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all for being here. That's pretty much it. We definitely had fun on this one. Jackson, make sure you guys check him out over at not Locked On, but the voice of college football, Alabama, and then the Jacksonian. And is that it?
That's about all for now. But of course, you can check out Locked On West Virginia with Mountaineer Paul.
Yeah. If you've never heard of that channel, that's a pretty good channel.
All right here.
Also, we're on podcast as well. So if you leave the house and you don't want to watch YouTube, you can find Locked On West Virginia on any podcast platform as well, y'all. And that's pretty much it, man. Obviously, it's going to be a huge day tomorrow. I'll be live right after the game goes off, literally. If it's a blowout either direction, I'll be live probably, I'll be hitting live as soon as the zeros hit, pretty much. If it's a close game or something like that, it might take me a little longer to go live. It just depends, because if I'm sitting there watching the game, I can't make the media for the game and all that. But anyways, I will see you as soon as the game gets done tomorrow, literally. So see me here, guys, and I will see you then. For Jackson, for myself, we're out of here.